What is going on, everyone? Obviously, the hot topic around the city is the Philadelphia Sixers and the way they felt, the way they collapsed to the Milwaukee Bucks yesterday in this big game at the Wells Fargo Center. That's the hot topic, as it should be, And I'm here to say, let's make a video about the negatives with the Sixers, because I always try and find positives. I always take a look around and say, well, I can build off this, or I can see this. The thing is with me is my expectations have not changed for what the Sixers are going to do this season throughout. It hasn't changed. I still think that they're going to lose in the second round of the Raptors in 6 or 7 games, or in the Eastern Conference Finals if they get there. They're not winning the NBA championship, and that's why I don't get upset with as badly as other people do with losses like yesterday, because that doesn't change my mind. We went toe-to-toe with the best team in the NBA record-wise, and we fell and blew away a game that we should have won. We were in position to win, and we fell apart and lost, and that doesn't change my expectations for what the Sixers are going to do in the playoffs. It just doesn't. I believe they're losing in the second round of the Raptors in 6 or 7 games to a really good team, or we're losing in the Eastern Conference Final. Like, we're not winning the NBA championship. That's what I'm saying. Last night didn't change my expectations. So let's talk about the negatives. The negatives, because I'm too positive on the Sixers, apparently. I'm too positive. So here we go. The negatives. You want to hear what's terrible with the Sixers? I'll deliver it to you, because apparently looking at it with some sort of hope is a bad thing to do. So let's just look at what's terrible about the 76ers and the issues moving forward as a team. Number one, and I think this is on display last night, is Ben Simmons. That was atrocious. It was pathetic. And we've seen this happen last year, late in the playoffs. Hell, we had TJ McConnell win us a basketball game in the playoffs last year because Ben Simmons was quiet. He was held to nothing. He was literally not even a part of the game last year at times. And we saw it again yesterday against the Milwaukee Bucks. You take a look at the last 2 games against the Bucks and what they did against him defensively. He wasn't getting to the free throw line. He wasn't being aggressive. This isn't about generating a jump shot. That's not what this is about. It's not about him shooting a 15-footer. No, this is just dribble, drive, go to the rack hard, get some contact, be aggressive, go to the rim, use your body structure and take guys with you and get fouled. He doesn't do that. He drives for about 5 steps. He gets to the free throw line area and he kicks out. He was not aggressive, and that's going to be a big problem moving forward. That's going to be an issue in the playoffs because teams are going to see that. And this is different now. You have 7 games. You have 7 games to game plan against a team. One thing happens one game, that coaching staff sits there and watches film for 28 hours, 30 hours, 35 hours until the next game, and they will change things up. That's what's crazy about the 7-game series system. You don't have the one night to just look it over before you play the Bulls one night, and then one night to look it over before you play one game against the Heat. No, this is a long, dragged-out series, and teams are going to game plan. So they're going to take a look at that, they're going to watch a lot of film, and they're going to shut down Ben Simmons to the point where he's so uncomfortable with this style of play that he's not going to be a factor whatsoever. So number one, Ben Simmons. There's a negative on what is going to be an issue moving forward in the second, third round of the basketball playoffs. 2, Brett Brown. All right, Brett Brown. He knows it. He's on the hot seat. This is his moment. This is his job. He's playing for his job. He's coaching for his job. So whether it's timeouts, rotations, plays, whatever you want it to be, Brett Brown is on the hot seat, and he knows that, so he needs to have one of his best playoff runs he's ever had. Not one of the best. It has to be the best because the only other one was last year when he got out-coached in 5. So Brett Brown is going to be a problem in the future if he can't figure things out. And we're not going to switch things like defensive schemes or pick-and-roll defense problems or transition problems. So we're going to have to figure that out. Offensively, the half-court set, it's a problem with Ben Simmons. So Ben Simmons and Brett Brown, they almost go hand-in-hand with each other. He's going to have to find a game plan to be able to use him more effectively when teams do shut down Ben Simmons. Just like the other teams are watching film to shut down Ben, Brett needs to watch film to figure out how to put Ben in a better position. There's only so much he can do, though. It's not like he can tell Ben to do things when he's out there. Ben doesn't do it. Ben doesn't do it. But he needs to put himself in a good position when other teams shut down Ben Simmons. So whether it's the use of timeouts, whatever the case may be, plays, rotation, guys on the floor, whatever you want to be, Brett Brown is going to be a problem down the stretch. How about the bench? Mike Scott. Outside of Mike Scott, what do you got? Boban can't play. Don't give me Boban. Don't give me Boban. He's too slow. He's not going to work. His feet can't move like that. That's an issue. James Ennis is now hurt. And I thought he was a guy who can eat you minutes. Someone who's not going to crush you. He's not going to kill you, but he's not going to be a game changer either. But he can eat up a couple minutes. Well, he's gone and he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. We know how that goes. You're going to rely on Jonah Bolden? You're going to rely on that? Maybe you can get away with him. The bench is a monster problem. The bench is a serious issue. We're going to have to find a way, which goes back to Brett Brown, how to use these 5 stars and to rotate them so the bench doesn't kill us as much as it potentially can. Somehow keep 2, 3 stars out there on the floor at the same time. But then again, you can't have TJ and JJ out there at the same time because defensively. So that's going to be something that we need to figure out. But our bench play is not good enough. When you take a look at guys like the Toronto Raptors and their team, their depth is a strong point. You can get away with actually rotating a serious amount and winning basketball games solely off of the flow of their bench. We don't have that luxury. Our bench actually is the most pathetic bench in the playoffs for a team that is actually serviceable. I'm not talking about the under 500 squads that make the 8th seed. And here you go. The lack of playing time with our starting 5. Now, when our starting 5 do play together, which isn't often, it's not a lot. You could take a look at when the trades happen due to rest, due to injury. These guys haven't played legit time together. So, the lack of time as the starting 5 unit. Now, when they do play and they do start, they do win. That's the thing. They do. But they have not played together a lot. So how will that factor in? So there's your negatives. So apparently I'm too positive. I think too positive with this team. But I only say that because my expectations aren't NBA championship this year. It's not the NBA championship this year. I'm a realist. I know that there's holes. I know that there's flaws. So when I take a look at games like last night, for example, I say, okay, well, with this flawed team, without Jimmy Butler, and I know the Bucks were missing guys too. I get all that, but they're going to be missing those guys throughout the playoffs. Brogdon is going to be out. They are missing these players for real throughout the playoffs, so they're going to have to do that anyway. Jimmy Butler, he'll be back. So that's the difference, in my opinion. But I take a look yesterday with this flawed team. How close were we to winning that basketball game? But let's not tie this back into a positive. This is negative video. I'm too positive when it comes to the Sixers. Here's the reason why we will not be successful later in the playoffs. Ben Simmons. He's going to get figured out. He's 22 years old, and his mindset changes to such a poor way when he gets shut down by other teams' defenses. It's just reality. Brett Brown. Do I even have to talk about it? The whole entire city's been talking about it forever. I've been saying, let's give him the playoffs, and we'll see what he does then. Well, Brett, here comes the playoffs. We got 3 games left. Here comes the playoffs after that 3 games. Here's his chance. Here's his chance. If it doesn't work out and he's not effective, it doesn't work out and he's not effective. I'm not going to cry about it. So Ben Simmons, Brett Brown, our bench play is pathetic and not deep whatsoever. Is Mike Scott going to be able to do what he did last night consistently throughout the playoffs? Boy, I hope so, but I don't think it's a reality. And guys like Zhaire Smith, I hope they don't have to play. He's not ready to play in the NBA. I hope he's not going, because if he does, that means we're that bad. We're that bad on the bench if guys like Zhaire Smith actually have to play. And the lack of playing time. Although our record is good when all 5 play, they haven't played much together. So there you have it. There you have it. Broads being a little negative after yesterday's game. I am upset with the team, yes, but does it change what I think they're going to be? No. I really don't. This is what I think they're going to be. This is what I think they're going to be. If they lose the next 3 games, who knows? Who knows where I'll be? But right now, I see it as second round to a good, deep Toronto Raptors team. A loss in that round in 6 or 7 games. or getting to the next round and maybe losing. But we're not an NBA title team. So a loss like yesterday, I mean, does that really change that expectation? Don't be unrealistic and say we're going to lose in the first round. Our talent alone is going to beat up on a 500 team. Oh, but bros, they didn't when you played the Hawks and the Mavericks. It's playoffs now. The mindset switches. That's what I have for you. Take it for what it is. I want to know your thoughts down below. But those are the reasons why we will not succeed down the stretch if those things aren't good enough. It's as simple as that. There you go. There you go. I'm getting hard on the Sixers. How do you like it? I'm getting hard on the Sixers. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.